I never used to notice clocks. They were just background noise, digital glows from microwaves, ticking hands in waiting rooms, the soft chimes of an old grandfather clock my mother kept wound for no reason but nostalgia. But lately, I've noticed them everywhere. They mark every second of uncertainty, every minute of suspicion, every hour that passes with no real answers. My name is Nathan. I'm 38, a father of one, a husband of 12 years, and until recently, I would have told you I was content. Not blissfully happy, not miserable, just settled. Like one of those still lakes that hide the coldest depths. My wife, Erica, worked in public relations at a boutique firm downtown. Fast-paced, deadline-driven. Late nights were normal, or so I thought. She was beautiful, but not the kind that makes you nervous. The kind that made you feel calm, seen. We met at a networking event neither of us wanted to attend, but her dry humor and the way she held eye contact made me feel like I'd walked into someone's private orbit. We moved fast, married within a year, and had our daughter, Lila, not long after. Life became predictable, manageable, comfortable. Until 2 weeks ago. It started with a Tuesday. Erica texted me around 5:15 p.m. Working late. Big client crisis. Might be past 8. That wasn't unusual. She often stayed late to put out fires. I'd already picked up Lila from after-school care, made her a quick pasta dinner, and settled her in with homework and a tablet before bath time. When 8:45 came and went, I sent Erica a "still good" text. No response. She walked through the door at 9:32 p.m. Sharp blazer, red lipstick worn down to a pink stain, hair tied back in a ponytail like she'd undone it and redone it hastily. I didn't ask questions. She kissed Lila goodnight and joined me in the kitchen, where I was nursing the same cup of coffee I'd poured at 7. "You look tired," I offered casually. It was insane. Our intern sent out a draft press release to the client, not the final. Full-on meltdown, she said, rubbing the back of her neck like it ached. We had to start over. Yikes, I said, offering sympathy instead of probing. She downed half a glass of wine, changed into sweats, and fell asleep on the couch before 10. I turned off the lights and went upstairs alone. But something gnawed at me that night. I couldn't explain it. A ripple across the surface. A subtle shift in how her voice caught on certain words, or how quickly she fell asleep. I chalked it up to stress. Everyone has rough days. I let it go. Until Thursday. That night, the agency supposedly hosted a last-minute networking event at a rooftop bar. She wore the black dress I'd always loved on her. Satin, with sleeves that hugged her arms just right. I complimented her as she left, and she smiled in that distracted way people do when their mind's already somewhere else. She promised to be home by 11. At 11:24, I checked her location from the family-sharing app on my phone. It showed her at the office. That made sense. Maybe she dropped by to grab something or change before coming home. But by midnight, she still wasn't home. When I checked again at 12:08 a.m., the app still showed the office. I stared at the screen for 10 full seconds. Then I swiped to my browser, typed in the firm's website, and checked their hours. Open, 9 a.m., 6 p.m. My stomach twisted. I refreshed the location. Still at the office. I got out of bed and walked downstairs, unsure of what I was even looking for. Proof? A feeling? A reason to breathe slower? I stood by the window, phone pressed to my palm. The house was quiet except for the hum of the refrigerator and the faint whir of the heater. At 12:32 a.m., headlights finally turned into the driveway. Her car. Engine off. Door slamming. I returned to the kitchen and waited by the sink. She came in, surprised to find me awake. "Hey," she said softly, brushing windblown hair from her face. "Hey," I replied, studying her. Her cheeks were flushed, lipstick freshly reapplied. "How was the event?" She paused, then answered, long draining, but productive. I said nothing. She walked past me and climbed the stairs. I followed a few minutes later, heartbeat uneven. She was already under the covers, eyes closed, breathing even. But I didn't sleep. The next day, I left work early. Something in me refused to sit still. I drove downtown and parked a block away from her building. It was 4:40 p.m. I waited. At 5:06, I saw her exit with 2 coworkers. She laughed at something one of them said, but the laugh didn't reach her eyes. They turned left. Erica turned right. She didn't go to her car. Instead, she kept walking. Past the parking structure, past the Starbucks on the corner, past the place she used to grab lunch on Fridays. I followed at a distance, heart thudding, hands shaking. She stopped in front of a boutique hotel, glanced around, then went inside. I parked across the street and waited. 30 minutes passed, then 45. At the 52-minute mark, she exited. Alone, hair slightly mussed, lipstick reapplied. She walked straight back to her office building. I followed again, slower this time. My throat felt dry. That night, she came home on time. She acted normal. We watched a show, laughed a little, kissed goodnight. But I didn't sleep again. Over the next week, she worked late 3 more times. Each time, I checked. Each time, the same routine, claiming overtime while the office closed early. The boutique hotel. Sometimes an hour, sometimes 2. Never with anyone visibly entering or leaving with her. But that didn't matter. The pattern was enough. The lie, repeated, was enough. I didn't confront her. Not yet. I needed more than instinct. I needed proof. That Saturday, while she took Lila to dance class, I installed a small dash cam in her car with motion-activated recording. I placed a voice recorder beneath the passenger seat. I needed to know if she called him, spoke to him, if she gave herself away when she thought no one was listening. I also installed software on our home laptop, software that could detect deleted files, track internet activity, and recover passwords. It felt invasive, while even. But the truth demanded sacrifice. By Monday, the data started trickling in. Nothing from the car, yet. But the computer? I found fragments of emails. A temporary account. Conversations erased, except for one lingering draft she must have forgotten to delete from the trash bin. Last night was perfect. I wish we didn't have to keep lying. That was it. No recipient listed. No name. No reply thread. But it was enough. I knew, beyond doubt. Still, I waited. I waited because revenge, if timed right, doesn't just destroy, it shatters silently. And on Thursday night, she gave me the final piece. She told me she'd be working late, again. I checked her office's lights at 6:12. Dark. Locked. She wasn't there. She wasn't supposed to know I was watching. But I was. I always had been. And that's when I decided. This wouldn't be a confrontation. It would be a reckoning. Friday morning, I didn't kiss her goodbye. She noticed. Her eyes hovered on me a second longer than usual as she buttoned her coat, lingering like she wanted to say something. But she didn't. Just grabbed her travel mug and murmured, "Back by 8. Maybe 9. We've got a new brand launch Monday. Late prep." I nodded, offered a flat, "Got it," and returned to my cereal. She lingered another second, then left. The door clicked shut. I rose as soon as the garage hummed and slipped into her routine like a phantom. She was meticulous, my Erica. Every surface wiped, every drawer closed, every password memorized, or so she thought. Her laptop had been synced to our shared home network. Last night, the software I'd installed swept through her cached data, encrypted folders, even her hidden trash. I'd only skimmed what came in before bed. But now, with a quiet house and Lila at school, I had hours. I sat at the dining table, opened my own laptop, and began peeling back the layers. The temporary email was active again. Another draft lingered, unsent but telling. "You make it easier to breathe. I swear I'd lose my mind without those hours with you. Nathan suspects nothing. I think. God, I hope." I leaned back. My name in her love letter to someone else. A betrayal so casual, so neat. Suspects nothing. I almost laughed. Not bitterly, not cruelly. Just stunned. That version of me, the clueless husband, playing with his daughter while his wife rearranged her lipstick in a hotel mirror, was dead now. Buried. The messages revealed more. Phrases like, "Tuesday's sweet," and "they never check the cameras." She sent photos, blurry glimpses of her reflection in hotel room mirrors, a hand curled on a linen sheet, a wine glass and frame. There were no nudes. Nothing explicit. Just intimacy. The kind that hurts worse than flesh. And a name. Only once, in a hasty subject line not meant to be saved. R. Thursday confirmed. 6:15. R. That's all I had. But enough. I checked the hotel's website. Thursday. 6:15. That meant she reserved a room under someone's name, or maybe under her own. But if she wasn't checking in, someone was. I needed eyes on them. Not just confirmation. I needed to see him. That afternoon, I made a call. Not to a friend, but to a private investigator I'd found online days earlier, but hadn't dared contact. "Martin speaking. Hi. I need. I need confirmation of an affair. Discretion, urgency, visual proof. You're the husband? Yes. Spouse's name. Erica Delaney. Pause. Fingers clicking. And you're sure? Yes. Okay. I've got someone tonight, if you've got a location. Boutique Renaissance Hotel. She'll be there at 6:15. He whistled. That gives us time. Send a photo. Her car make. Plate. Anything else? I did. Within 10 minutes, he had boots on the ground. At 5:45, he texted. Subject arrived. Alone. Black sedan. Checked in. Room 512. At 6:09, male entered. 40s, tin coat. Beard. No luggage. They embraced. Capturing footage. I stared at the texts, pulse fluttering. 6:42, lights off. Curtains closed. No movement. No third party. We'll monitor exit. I closed my laptop and sat in silence. The camera in her car had picked up their conversation the last time, barely, through the doors. His voice was gravelly, southern maybe, not distinct. He called her Rika, a nickname I hadn't heard since our first year of marriage. I played the clip on loop. Missed you, he said. Same. So much. I hated that voice. He said it like he meant it. At 8:39, I received the final message from Martin. Both exited. Separate cars. Photos attached. Facial clarity decent. Video stored. I tapped the images open. Her eyes glowed under the parking garage lights. She looked younger in them, relaxed, light, almost giddy. The man was older than me by maybe a few years. Salt and pepper beard, tall, clean coat. Confident in the way only men who get what they want seem to move. He touched the small of her back briefly before they parted. That touch, so familiar, shoved something hot up into my throat. I forced it down. I didn't reply to the investigator. I just sat there. By the time she returned home, the mask was back on. Erica smiled as she slipped off her boots. I'm wiped, she said. Pitch went okay, but the branding team is a mess. I nodded. She came close, kissed my cheek. Her lips tasted like mint and wine. She poured herself a glass of water, microwaved leftovers, and asked about Lila. I told her she had a good day. I didn't mention the drawing Lila made of Mommy and the man with the beard. I tucked that away. Later, when she showered, I watched the footage from her car again. The conversation this time was short. One more week. Then we talk? We'll talk when it's safe. Don't push it, Rika. I'm not. He's not stupid. Me. They spoke like I was a problem to manage, not a man to consider. That night, in bed, she curled into me. Her head rested on my chest, the way it used to when things were still simple. I didn't move. I didn't breathe. I let her fall asleep, listening to her steady breathing, her pulse echoing in my ear. And that's when the idea came to me. If she wanted secrecy, I'd give her spectacle. Not a confrontation, not a screaming match, not a door slammed in her face. Something better. Something precise. Something that would dismantle her entire lie with a single, irreversible truth. I just had to wait for the right moment. Until then, I'd keep playing the fool. The kind of man who doesn't ask too many questions, who smiles during dinner, who kisses his wife goodnight. But underneath, I was building something. Not a confrontation, a demolition. And she wouldn't hear the rumble until the walls caved in. By Sunday morning, I'd built the blueprint. Every decision Erica made behind my back, every room key, every whispered lie, every overtime excuse became the framework. And like any engineer, I knew the foundation had to be flawless. I started early. She was still asleep, tangled in sheets, mouth slightly open like a child dreaming of something sweet. I watched her for a moment. My wife. My stranger. Then I slipped downstairs and opened the safe. Inside, I pulled out the USB drive that now contained 3 weeks' worth of evidence. Synced text from the clone phone, clips from the dash cam, camera stills, emails. A timeline of betrayal, precise and undeniable. Next, I composed the email. Not to her. Not yet. This one was for someone else. Subject: thought you should know. No salutation. No signature. Just a Dropbox link and a sentence. You deserve to see what's happening behind your back. I attached 2 video files, blurred Erica's face just slightly, enough to avoid legal retaliation, but not so much that anyone close to her wouldn't recognize the voice, the movements, the inflection. I sent it to the man's wife. Yes, his wife. I'd found her through his car registration, which my investigator traced through his plate. Cross-referenced with social media, the pieces aligned. Her name was Emily. 2 kids. PTA board member. Book club. Churchgoer. Her Facebook was a scroll of family vacations and crockpot recipes. I wondered what she'd feel when she opened that file. Probably what I felt. Like her breath had been stolen. By noon, I received a read receipt. By 12:37, a reply. Who are you? I didn't answer. I had other things to tend to. That afternoon, Erica suggested a walk in the park. The fall air was crisp, leaves turning amber and fire red, scattered like confetti across the grass. Lila zipped ahead on her scooter, her laughter bright and untouched by the storm beneath our skin. You've been quiet lately, Erica said, wrapping her scarf tighter. Just tired, I murmured. She studied me. Work getting to you? I nodded. But what I wanted to say was, do you think I don't know? Do you believe your perfume masks his cologne? That your smiles still land the same way? Instead, I said, yeah. And we kept walking. She didn't press. By evening, I had one more piece to prepare. A dinner invitation. I sent it through our shared family email account. Nothing suspicious. Just a quick message to Erica's colleagues and a few of our mutual friends. Dinner party this Thursday night. Small group. Just some wine and comfort food. Erica's idea to celebrate the big client win. Hope you can make it. I CC'd her, of course. She replied 2 minutes later. Did I suggest that? I answered with a simple, thought you'd mentioned it, but I'll handle the prep. She didn't argue. By then, I'd already booked the caterer. Not a lot, just appetizers and finger foods. Enough for 10 guests. And I'd arranged a tech setup in the living room. Our TV wired to my laptop, hidden behind a cabinet. One click, and the truth would bloom in high definition. I didn't want to fight. I wanted witnesses. Monday, she left early again. Team brainstorm, she said, grabbing her coffee thermos. Don't wait up tonight. I smiled. Wouldn't dream of it. Once she pulled out of the driveway, I retrieved the burner phone from the garage. On it were the most recent GPS logs. She didn't go to her office. She went to the same boutique hotel. Room 512 again. Routine. Efficient. I wondered if she considered it romantic, this secret life of passion, if the danger added flavor, or if she genuinely thought I was too dull, too distracted, to see the patterns. Later that day, the investigator sent one final video clip. From the hallway this time, obtained from the hotel's own network, with help from a friend on staff. Erica and the man kissing at her door. She tugged him in by the collar. They looked like they belonged there. Like it wasn't their first time. Like it wouldn't be the last. But it would be. Thursday was coming. And with it, the collapse. Wednesday night, I took Lila to my sister's house. Sleep over, I told her. Her cousin squealed when she arrived. Erica kissed her goodbye absent-mindedly, already half on her phone. We sat on the porch afterward, nursing glasses of wine. You nervous about tomorrow? She asked. Not really. She smiled. You're always calm. I envy that. I watched her mouth form that sentence, and all I saw were the lips pressed against someone else's skin. I didn't respond. She leaned her head on my shoulder. Whatever happens next, just know I love this life we made. My throat went dry. The audacity. The ease of the lie. Still, I said nothing. Because that was the point. Let her get comfortable. Let her believe the storm had passed. Let her think the clouds were clearing. Thursday arrived like a blade wrapped in velvet. By 6:30 p.m., the guests had arrived. Erica's manager, 2 co-workers, a couple we were friendly with from Lila's school, and the neighbor from across the street. I played host like a man without a care. Poured wine. Passed around bruschetta. Joked about how I'd forgotten to chill the white. Erica wore a maroon dress. The same one she wore to her networking event 2 weeks earlier. The irony was almost poetic. She floated between guests, gracious and charming. I kept watching her fingers graze wine glasses, her head tilt as she laughed too hard at jokes that weren't funny. By 7:15, we gathered in the living room for a toast. I tapped my glass. I just want to thank everyone for being here. It means a lot, I began, voice steady. Erica gave me a warm smile, touched by my sincerity. I turned toward the television. One more thing before dessert. I pressed a key. The screen blinked. The room dimmed, then flickered to life. A hallway. Hotel wallpaper. Room 512. 2 people locking lips. Pausing to whisper. Keys jiggling. Then Erica's face filled the screen. There was a beat of silence. One glass slipped from someone's hand and shattered. Another gasp. Erica froze, like her blood had left her. Her mouth parted, but nothing came out. I turned to her. "Tell them, Erica," I said softly. "Tell them who he is." The silence stretched thin, brittle. Someone muttered, "Oh my God." Her face crumpled, not from guilt, but from the realization that her curtain had been torn down in front of everyone she fooled. I didn't wait for her response. Instead, I stood, walked upstairs, and left her to explain the wreckage. I didn't go far, just upstairs. I stood at the edge of the hallway, right outside the bedroom where Erica and I had once laughed through late-night movie marathons and whispered stories under the covers like kids sneaking past curfew. Now the air outside our bedroom felt charged, hot, metallic, like the breath before a lightning strike. Downstairs, the house unraveled. Voices rose, dissonant. Some gasps. A stammered apology. Her voice, trembling but trying to control the narrative. My name peppered in there, pleading tones, sharp edges. I didn't need to hear it all. I'd written the script. The man from the hotel, his name was Raymond Carter, regional director of a chain of fitness centers. He had a wife, Emily, and 2 teenage sons. And tonight, while Erica stood bare before her coworkers, friends, and neighbors, he stood in his own home 2 miles away, facing a fire of his own. At 7:24 p.m., I got a text from Emily. "He's gone. Thank you." Simple. Final. Downstairs, someone knocked on the banister. "Nathan." It was Roger, our neighbor. "Everything okay up there?" I replied without moving. "Everything's clearer now." And it was. When I finally descended the stairs 20 minutes later, only 2 guests remained. Erica stood by the dining table, pale and stripped of her usual composure. The maroon dress looked too tight now, like it was choking her. Our friend Dana approached me cautiously. "Hey, we're gonna head out. You okay?" "Better than ever," I said, smiling softly. Dana glanced at Erica, who stood stiffly with her arms folded. "We'll talk soon, okay?" I nodded. They left. Just me and her now. She didn't speak at first. I walked past her, collecting wine glasses, stacking plates. Finally, she whispered, "How long?" "Long enough." "Why didn't you tell me?" "Because I wanted you to lie a little longer. Wanted to see how deep the hole would go." She blinked. "You could have ruined my career tonight." "You ruined your life." I just lit the fuse. She leaned against the counter, arms trembling. I didn't plan for it to go this far. But it did. I opened the cabinet, pulled out a folder, and set it on the kitchen island. Inside were printed transcripts, emails, photos, GPS logs, a snapshot of her affair from beginning to end. At the back, divorce papers. Her face went blank when she saw the final page. "You all ready?" Signed and notarized. "All I need is yours." She stared down at the folder like it might catch fire. "This doesn't have to be scorched earth," she said. I tilted my head. "You torched everything, Erica. I just set up the mirrors." She pressed her lips together, eyes glassy now. "I never stopped loving you," she said. "I believe that," I replied. "But you loved the thrill more." We didn't speak after that. She packed a bag while I stayed in the guest room. By morning, she was gone. The fallout spread fast. The firm asked her to take an indefinite leave to preserve client confidence. Several of her coworkers had forwarded the video, despite my request for privacy. Some were sympathetic, others not. Raymond lost his regional post. Corporate doesn't like scandals, especially when they hit social media. His wife filed for divorce within the week. Erica tried to call several times. I didn't answer. She left voicemails that were half apology, half bargaining. I miss Lila's laugh. Her lunchbox notes. "Please don't shut me out. Please, Nathan." I listened, then deleted them. But I wasn't cruel. I gave her access. Supervised visits. Scheduled weekends. I didn't poison Lila's image of her mother. I didn't have to. Children sense absence. They feel coldness like animals feel storms. Weeks passed. I returned to work, poured myself into the backlog of architectural renderings that had sat idle during the chaos. The lines calmed me. Precision gave me peace. Lila asked why Mommy lived somewhere else now. I told her the truth. Sometimes, even grown-ups make mistakes that change things. "Did she stop loving us?" she asked. "No," I said. "But sometimes love gets lost." She nodded slowly. "Will we see her again?" "Yes." "Will she come home?" I paused. "No, sweetheart. But she'll always want to see you." That seemed to be enough. One Thursday afternoon, Erica stopped by the house for a drop-off. Lila had forgotten her art supplies in the trunk of Erica's car. I opened the door, and there she stood, smaller somehow. Thinner. Her hair pulled back in a tight ponytail, eyes rimmed with the kind of sleep-deprived red you can't cover with makeup. "I brought the markers," she said, voice barely above a whisper. I took them and thanked her. She lingered. "I just wanted to say, you were right." I waited. "I was bored," she continued. "I thought it was harmless at first. The attention, the rush. It made me feel seen." "You were already seen," I said quietly. "You just stopped looking back." She nodded. "I thought you'd rage. Break things. Scream." "I did," I said. "Just not where you could see it." She bit her lip. "I missed the life we had." I met her eyes. "You missed the idea of it, not the work it took." She looked down, then turned and left without another word. That night, after Lila was asleep, I sat on the porch and played back the last 6 months in my head. The small signs, the missed cues, the growing distance I'd chalked up to stress, to career pressure, to the slow rust of routine. But it wasn't rust. It was rot, and I'd been standing on hollow ground. Now, at least, the ground was scorched clean. I'd lit the match. But something was still coming. A final reveal. A final fracture. Because the investigator had discovered something else. Something I hadn't planned for. And it was sitting in my inbox, unopened. Subject line: "One more thing you should see." I hovered over the email. Clicked. And what I saw stole the breath from my lungs. The subject line, "One more thing you should see," lingered like a drumbeat in the back of my mind. My finger hovered over the mouse for what felt like minutes. I didn't want more. Not another twist. Not another knife. But I opened it anyway. The investigator's message was brief. "Thought you'd want the full picture." Footage from 2 weeks ago, pulled from her car's dash cam. Skipped to 3:14 in the clip. I clicked the link. The video opened to the inside of Erica's car. She was alone at first, adjusting her hair in the mirror. The sun was still out, late afternoon. She sat idling in the hotel parking lot. At 3:12, a knock on the passenger window startled her. She smiled. The passenger door opened, and stepped not Raymond, but my boss, Gerald Whitaker. I blinked. In the video, Erica laughed. "You're early." "Didn't want to wait," Gerald replied, sliding into the seat. He leaned across the console and kissed her. Not on the cheek. Not tentative. Familiar. "Raymond can't make it today?" she asked. Gerald smirked. "Let him think he's the only one. Works better that way." My stomach turned. The clip kept rolling. Chatter about keeping things quiet, about compartmentalizing, about Nathan never being the wiser. I paused the video, closed my eyes. My lungs wouldn't feel right. I had thought it was one man, one betrayal, one lie beneath a marriage. But it was more. A pattern. A choice she'd made over and over again. And my own world, my work, my livelihood, now intersected with it. Because Gerald wasn't just my supervisor. He was the senior partner of the entire firm. And now I knew. He was involved. I didn't go to work the next day. Instead, I drove 2 towns over and met with a lawyer whose name I'd remembered from a networking event last year. She had a firm handshake, a piercing gaze, and the kind of calm that made you believe she'd already won before the gavel dropped. I gave her everything. Emails, footage, timelines. She listened in silence. "You want to take him down?" she finally asked. "No," I replied. "I want to burn it all down. And walk away clean." She smiled. "That I can work with." The plan took 2 weeks. I filed a formal complaint with HR about Gerald. But I didn't stop there. Using the evidence provided, my lawyer drafted a lawsuit alleging sexual misconduct and abuse of power, not on my behalf, but on behalf of Erica. Because even if she had willingly participated, the optics were catastrophic. We leaked it, anonymously, to the local news. By the time HR called me in, Gerald's face was already on the homepage of 3 regional papers. Senior partner accused in office affair scandal. He tried to push back. Denied everything. Until the dash cam clip aired. Within 72 hours, he was out. And the board offered me a quiet separation package to avoid further press. 6 months salary. Full benefits for a year. An NDA clause I never intended to honor. I walked out with a smile. Erica called that night. Her voice was low. Strained. "What did you do?" I finished it. "You've ruined everything." "No," I said. "I ended what you started." She didn't respond. Just hung up. I never heard her voice again. A year passed. The house felt quieter, but not lonelier. Lila adjusted better than I expected. Kids do. She asked less about her mother. Eventually, she stopped asking altogether. I found work again. Smaller firm, fewer perks, but more peace. The mornings were mine again. No lies, no missing shoes, no fabricated deadlines. Just pancakes, cartoons, backpacks slung over shoulders. I wasn't healed, but I was whole. One afternoon, I picked up Lila from art camp. She ran to me, covered in glitter and beaming. "Guess what?" she shouted. "What?" "I drew our family." She handed me the paper. A simple drawing. Her, me, and our dog, Max. No Erica. I looked down, unsure how to react. "She doesn't live here anymore," Lila said simply. So I didn't draw her. My throat tightened. I nodded. "That's okay, right?" I crouched down, looked her in the eye. "That's more than okay," I whispered. She grinned and skipped toward the car. I followed. Months later, I received a letter. From Erica. No return address. No postmark. Just my name. Inside, a handwritten note on a folded piece of notebook paper. I thought I was chasing something better. I didn't realize I had already arrived. "I'm sorry. For the lies. For the cowardice. For forgetting how to look at you and see home. You were never boring. I was just blind." I read it once. Then again. Then I burned it. Not out of hatred, but because the past belongs to ashes now, and I have no desire to resurrect ghosts. Sometimes I think about what I'd say if we passed on the street. If she stopped, eyes wet, looking for recognition. I think I'd smile. Nod, maybe. But I wouldn't stop walking. Because the real revenge is living without her, and never once missing what I thought I had.